Beautiful. Hello and welcome, friends. I hope you're ready to fight.
Yes. You should be refreshed because I'm sure everybody went to bed nice and early last night.
Yes.
And it's New Year's Day.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone is hungover as shit.
Yeah, no, everybody is super bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, all that. Like, they're just rare to go.
But
I can feel it.
Regardless of the state of our audience, I've got some things I think will be fun to talk about. Hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe distract you from your violent hangover.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hello, Nyx.
Yes, she was harassing me and trying to trip me shortly before we started.
As she often does. Before we start talking about pretty much anything else, let's get a vibe check up here. How we doing? We are not violently hungover. No, I'm honestly doing pretty good.
Yeah, we streamed until midnight last night. Like a couple minutes
until midnight?
Yep.
And then went right to bed.
Yeah, I went and made s'mores. So
fuck it, why not? Start the new year off with s'mores.
Yeah.
No.
I went to bed more at like 1:30, but
I got right into bed and I very carefully chose my first album of the new year to listen to as I was drifting off, which was Turbo Rider by Reckless Love, because if you'll recall in a past episode, I said 2025 had better fucking feel like that album.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that's helping me manifest a year that does indeed feel like that album.
Sure.
Anyway.
Just like this anything.
Sometimes I gotta tell myself that I'm doing things, otherwise I'll go insane.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have to tell myself the little ridiculous things that I do have an effect, or I'll go insane. So, I know, but also shut up by manifesting it.
I just said a thing that wasn't negative nor positive.
Okay, so the first thing that I have on our list is something that I did not see coming. Arthur actually won the 2024 Celebrity Death Predictions game with, 2 days to go?
Yeah,
he won in that weird little window where we had to do our last episode of 2024 before 2024 was actually ending. And we had to pick our celebrity death ballots for 2025. And there was that window of a couple days where we had our new ballots and our old ones still technically stood. And Jimmy Carter died.
Do you think he hired somebody to assassinate Jimmy Carter and make it look like natural causes?
I don't know.
Just so he could win the celebrity death ballot? Because he was like, oh man, it's so close to the end of the year. I got to do something to make this happen.
I mean, I suppose anything is possible, technically. But, yeah, so Arthur, buddy, you won. You get bragging rights for the entirety of this year, and whoever wins for this year gets the same next year.
If anybody does. We thought we were going to get through last year with nobody getting a single one.
Yeah. So, but maybe that's a good sign that we got one. Maybe this year we'll get two.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. We got some interesting picks.
All right. Interesting picks aside, what were our favorite Christmas presents this past year, Bestie? We haven't really talked about that since we recorded our last episode of last year, like the week before Christmas, and then we were off because Christmas was on a Wednesday.
Yeah, so Christmas was a week ago today, so
So this is our first chance to talk about that kind of stuff. What did we get? What did we like? Anything we didn't? And also, anyone who's watching, feel free to chime in the chat. I would love to hear what kinds of fun presents you got.
Yeah, I mean, you can partially see one of my most beloved.
You got your toast pillow.
This
your memory foam toast pillow that I absolutely... It's so cute. I love it.
It's so stupid. Look at its stupid little floppy arms and legs.
I love it.
And it's comfy. That's why I was like, oh, he'll just hang out in my gaming chair with me. You can see my toast back here.
Ooh, we have a toast appreciator in chat.
Toast. Yeah, I have some of the weirdest plush things.
You have a fascinating collection of plushies.
Yeah. My mom said she did come across a stuffed banana duck that she almost got for me. And I'm like, I know exactly the one that you mean.
Okay, so some of the most notable things that I got include this sweater that I'm currently wearing. And I'm going to back up for a second so y'all can get the full effect of this awesome graveyard sweater that I'm a huge fan of and that I very purposefully wore to Nosferatu. That felt appropriate. So that's one of two presents that I'm wearing. The other one being this awesome stainless steel spike choker that I've had my eye on forever that has immediately become a new everyday. I never want to take this thing off. It's freaking awesome. I love it so much. So we've got that.
Nice.
Kyle got a temperature controlled mug. I also got a temperature controlled mug, and we're going to talk about how that happened.
Is it the one? There's one that I've seen at Best Buy, and I can't remember the name of the brand.
Ember.
Is it that one? Yeah, that's what was in my head. And
this thing is why is my chair rotating? Didn't ask you to do that. This thing is a fucking game changer, bestie. I have
looked at getting one many times.
Notorious for letting cups of tea go cold. No longer.
Yeah.
No longer a problem. I've only had it for a couple days and I'm absolutely hooked. I love it. But the reason that Kyle also has a temperature controlled mug is that I am a relatively simple woman who did not have a particularly extensive Christmas list, although I did have a couple pricier items on there this year. Christmas list from which everyone who knows me and who was received the list was picking from. So Santa brought me, because my mom still labels almost all of our presents from Santa, even though my sister is 24 and I am 26.
Oh, my mom still does that, and I'm the youngest, so.
It never, and I never want it to end.
Actually,
anyway.
I wrapped all of the presents that she bought this year except for my own. So actually, I was the one writing Santa on all of them, but...
Oh my God. But Santa brought me a temperature controlled mug, and so did my wonderful, wonderful boyfriend, Kyle. So now he has one.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I've looked at those so many times.
But yeah,
and then I'm like,
great. It keeps my tea precisely at 140 degrees. I never have to worry about it going cold, especially because the little okay, technically it could go cold if I'm sitting out in the living room and it runs out of charge. But when I'm sitting at my desk and I have it sitting on the little charging coaster, infinity, baby.
Yeah, my only issue is I have so many cool mugs.
That's the thing. Like, I'm obviously still going to use my other cool mugs, but when I know I'm going to be sitting at my desk for extended periods of time, possibly getting in the zone, like when I'm editing a bunch of podcast episodes.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, I do have a bad habit of where I'm working at home, like, oh, I'll have a nice cup of tea. And then I sit it there, and then it's like an hour later, I'm like, oh, yeah, I made tea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. For doing that. But I absolutely love that. And I got a couple other cool things that I am more than happy to talk about. But how about you tell me about a couple more things you got first?
I mean, my stuff's always practical stuff. Like, I got some new soup mugs that I'm real jazzed about.
I mean, hey, I'm also jazzed about a mug. And to be
Love
completely
soup.
honest with you, most of my stuff was either practical or just clothing that I wanted. Again,
Yeah.
the mug, things I'm currently wearing. I did get a Lego set. My sister and I get a Lego set every single year. My mom got me the big, or Santa got me the big Nightmare Before Christmas one, which I have yet to start putting together, and I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I did get that s'mores maker, which is kind of a fun thing.
Hell yes.
And
See,
my
that's a
toast
fun
was a fun
practical.
thing.
It serves a purpose, but it's a really fun purpose.
Kind of like my toast. Like, it's very silly, but man, does it make my chair even comfier.
I mean, there you go. You know?
And so my parents know that I hate nutcrackers. I find them creepy, unsettling. I don't like, I wish the very concept of them would be wiped from existence.
Okay.
So they bought me another nutcracker.
I love that for you.
It's
I'm not going to lie.
Got silver glitter on it.
A little bit funny. Sorry, bestie.
It's only the second one they bought me, but man, do they laugh so hard when they see me open it.
I can imagine.
I don't understand why people, and I have a cousin who like is obsessed with nutcrackers. She has this huge collection in her home, and I told her I won't go to her house near the holidays anymore.
Sure, why not?
So yeah, somebody who hates nutcrackers, I now have 2 nutcrackers.
Love it.
And they will stay in a box in the basement, and I will never look upon them. They're to scare the rats that I don't have.
Yeah, okay. All right. Other things. I got a gift certificate for the place where we've both been tattooed for Bittersweet Blackbird, which yay, because I have plans for more ink, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, yeah, I had an idea last week. Yeah.
We'll get to that. I got some sick-ass Lorna Shore sweatpants, and they are so ridiculously comfy and high quality. Whoever is like in charge of merch for that band, you're killing it, bro. Absolutely fantastic. I want to live in these goddamn things. And I got a cool Dance Devil Dance hoodie, which is an Avatar album for the uninitiated. But yeah, those are my
clothing items.
A lot of clothing that I wanted. Those are my highlights, really. Clothes I wanted, fun, practical items, and Legos. You're never too old for Legos, man.
No. And, you know, a lot of enjoyment that I get on Christmas anymore is like seeing the nieces open presents and seeing the stuff that they got. I gave them all loaf cats this year.
And did they like them?
Oh yeah, especially the youngest, who's 10. She was like obsessed. She named it Minty because I made it green because that's her favorite color.
Oh, that's so cute.
She was like obsessed with it. So that was a good time watching them open a bunch of stuff. And
here's the thing. I don't like children. This is a well-known fact. But my mom once did say something very, like, kind of, I was like, oh, that's sweet. She was like, it's so exciting for you as an adult, like, if you're a parent, when you have little kids around Christmas, because holy shit, the Magic Man was in my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they, like, legitimately believe that. And they're like, holy shit.
And it's so cool to see them getting, like, so excited. And And then you get to like play with their toys. Like my mom got them some sort of thing that I don't remember what it was called, but it has like these sticky balls that you're supposed to throw around and they stick to like anything. So naturally we were all chucking them at each other.
Of course. What else
until
are
one of
you
the
going
kids
to do with
decided-
them?
One kid decided it was a great idea to stick them all to the ceiling to their cat's great confusion. He just kept staring. Like
Yeah,
they
I
were
can see
giant,
that.
colorful bugs, I guess. Yeah,
You know,
but that's fun. I did get
Christmas-
pelted in the face by my brother.
I dig it. That does track. Christmas also must be really fun for cats because there's so much paper you can bat around.
My brother got his cat Norman a new like
Norman.
scratcher bed thing. He actually opened it himself. He tore the paper off with his own claws. Especially
Stop,
because,
that's so cute.
well, especially because once he got his like first tear into it, he realized what it was. Because he had one that he's like obsessed with him. That's all he sleeps in. But he's a big boy, and
He's a
he
big,
was
big
always
boy.
too big for it. My brother found one that was like double XL or something. So he was real excited.
I love that. That's so fun.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to move on?
Yeah.
Since
Yeah,
we've
let's
talked
do it.
about this past year, let's talk about this year. What are some of our goals / resolutions for 2025? And I added underneath that they can be both podcast and personal.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the pod, it's always going to be grow the audience, get more
Yeah.
guests.
Get more guests, grow the audience. I really want to try and get 100 subscribers on YouTube this year. That's my big numeric goal.
Nice.
See if we can just about double what we've got going on currently.
Yeah. Actually get a Patreon subscriber. That'd be nice.
Yes, one single Patreon subscriber. You would go down in the annals of Big Dumb Monsters podcast network history.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean,
think about that.
and I guess while we're at it, thinking about podcast goals, like network goals more broadly, more events.
More
would
events,
say.
yes, because the things that we have done thus far have, one, been fun as fuck. So I'm just down to do more based on that alone. And two, it's awesome getting to hang out with people and, you know, potentially kind of, I guess, hawk the podcast to new people.
Yeah, because we did a Halloween party and an ugly sweater party.
And
And then
those
plus
were
all the
both
cons.
a blast.
Yeah, and doing
Yes.
cons and stuff and getting to chat with people and meet people in person that we've only ever interacted with through the pod. You know, it's
Looking at you, Hey Boots.
yeah.
Don't know if you're actually
It's
here
so
or
nice
not.
to-
Either
yeah.
way.
But it is so nice to put a face to like a screen name.
Yeah, it's awesome. More events. I think that's definitely a good goal.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this online. One of my personal goals is to try more pasta shapes.
Interesting.
Someone was posting about how people forget that you can make a fun resolution, like to try
Yeah.
a new fruit and read the Wikipedia page while you eat it.
I mean, sure.
The Wikipedia page was this person's hyper specific thing about trying new fruit, but I was like, oh yeah, you can do a fun one. So I want to see how many pasta shapes I can get in 1 year.
See, those are the kind of stuff I do anyway. Like,
So valid, Queen.
I read the Wikipedia page for everything. Like, if there's something where I'm like, where did this phrase come from? Or how do they produce this thing? I'm just immediately reading about it. And like anytime I see a weird fruit, I'm like, oh, that looks like a weird fruit. I'm gonna buy it.
Well, there you
And
go. You're already on your way.
Yeah, and I buy like, I don't like to buy the same pasta shape over and over. I get different ones like every time for no reason, even if they're
love
not like appropriate for whatever sauce I'm using or
Listen,
what have
life
you.
is short.
Although I am a
as
big
far as-
fan of the bow ties.
I do love a good bow tie. As far as actual quote unquote resolutions along the line, like the way that people normally think of them, I do want to try cycling more often. I've really kind of fallen off with that, and I would like to get back into it because I just got this bike. sitting in my office, and I should do something with it.
Probably, yeah. Preferably when it's warmer outside, but
preferably. But you know, it's on the trainer stand, so I can use it indoors. But yeah, I want to get on the bike a little more often, and I want to learn 2 songs on guitar.
Nice.
So, wish me luck. I'm probably going to need it because I'm terrible at doing things that I'm not immediately perfect at. Or terrible at sticking with things that I'm not immediately perfect at. It is one of my deepest character flaws. And I know this about myself. What about you, Bestie?
I am hoping with great optimism that my next scheduled foot surgery in a month goes as planned, fixes the problem, and so I can actually like get back into running. Like, I had a false start this past year, like where I was like, oh yeah, I had the surgery, I'm healing, it's fine. And then it was like, no, wait, never mind, it's not fine.
Yikes.
So, and this surgery is going to take longer to recover from, so I'm not going to be able to like run a marathon this year, but hopefully I'll be on my way to do one next year.
All right.
Fingers crossed. I also want to get back into Japanese on Duolingo.
Very smart.
I abandoned it for a while. Yeah.
Oh, one of my other goals is so personally specific, but it is literally like one of my biggest goals for this coming year. I want to meet either or both Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton at a convention. Like, that is so fucking high on the list. I need to make it happen.
I can't remember
Kyle
if I
doesn't
this...
Google. He Wikipedias. Anyway, what were you saying?
I can't remember if I mentioned this on the pod or not, but at Niagara Falls Comic-Con this year, there is a guest that's going to be there that I'm very excited about. I know I've told you about it, but I don't think it came up on the pod.
I think I remember what you're talking about.
Warwick Davis.
Yes. I do remember you telling me about that.
Yes. Which a lot of people are like, because he was in the Harry Potter movies and stuff like that. And it's like, he's Willow, okay? He is Willow, and I'm bringing my VHS tape and getting him to sign it. You're
so real for that, Queen.
That is one of my great dreams for this year. That movie was so important in my childhood. I was like obsessed with it.
I love that for you.
And I never would have dreamed
that I'd actually get to. One of my other goals is to outdo the number of new movies that I watched, or number of movies that I watched for the first time. I make a list on Letterboxd every year, and I log every movie that I like, specifically every movie that I'm watching for the first time, whether it's a new release or something that's older. I got to, I think, 101 this past year, so I want to try and outdo that, because that was a significant improvement upon the first year I did it, 2023. So
I think you should aim to watch at least 10 movies from that poster that's hanging right by you.
I really should. You're so right. Because I've had that poster for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my goals and resolutions, both serious and fun, and some things for the podcast. Would we like to move on to the TikTok that I have for us to discuss? I will not be playing it because I don't feel like getting a copyright strike.
Yeah. I didn't watch it before we started, but I get the idea.
Oh, you really should have.
The question. Yeah, I didn't know there was one.
No, he gets real specific about how serious it is. Okay, but picture this. In the video, the guy says for the ladies, but I'm going to expand this to just everybody.
Human beings.
Human beings. You meet the love of your life. You meet the absolute most perfect person, whether they are man, woman, non-binary, whatever. Would you rather they be $100,000 in credit card debt, or they are a serious fucking Bigfoot hunter? Like, they believe he is out there and they are looking.
Bigfoot.
like every weekend. It's literally the most obvious thing in the world. At least they have a hobby.
Yeah, they're passionate about something. I mean, that's nice. Presumably, if it's somebody I was even remotely interested in, they would be coming at it from like a logical standpoint, right? Would they have actual like some sort of reason behind why they believe that? You know? And so it's like, yeah, it might not be my thing, but you know, we don't have to agree on everything. Whereas the $100,000 in debt thing would affect me personally in major ways.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, thank you. I hunt Bigfoot to your heart's content, babe.
Yeah, you go do that, and I'll go do a thing I like, and then we'll meet up later. Or maybe
And you know
just
what?
for funsies, I'll accompany you one weekend, or you know.
Yeah, sure, I'll go. It'll be fun. And you know what? I'm not here I am in no position to make fun of anybody for their hobbies. Have you met me?
If you're having a good time and you're not hurting anybody,
who cares?
That's all that matters. Yeah,
no,
that's all that matters. I think the only way it would be a problem is in the same way that any other hobby could be a problem. Like they're spending too much time with that and not spending any time with you, or they're spending too much money on it, you know. But that would be the same. Yeah.
Oh my God. Can you link an article, please? I want to be able to. I want people to know that we are not that is not being like pulled out of somebody's ass. That's a real thing that happened. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm not laughing at the deaths of these two people. That is terrible. It's the absurdity of the circumstance is getting to me.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, obviously we need more context, but if it were the kind of weather where you would be able to freeze to death, I don't know that being out looking for a Sasquatch is the best choice.
I don't necessarily know if that is wise.
Yeah.
Not making fun of these people.
No.
But I don't know if that was the world's best decision. And I'm not saying I make perfect decisions either.
Nope. But I mean, that might be another example of a reason why that would be problematic. If they do things that are like personal risks hazardous to their own safety.
Yeah. But the thing is, they sit like in the hypothetical, though, it's like you're a perfect person. So I would assume that they're not the type of person who would do those kinds of things anyway, because that's not like, if I'm going down a list. Oh, thank you, BBC. So we were not lying.
Yeah. But again, I think any problem that I would have.
Yeah, if I'm going down the list, checking off boxes of like the hypothetical perfect individual, they're not going to be a person who takes stupid risks like that, or, you know, would get themselves hurt, or like, you know, go into debt spending on a hobby. So I don't think it's anything to worry about, really. Yeah, no,
it's ultimately.
And also there's people out there who still believe in trickle-down economics, and frankly, that's more embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, by a significant margin.
There are worse hobbies for people to have.
Yes. Yes, there are. And I'm not going to name and shame, because I'm not about that life, but 100%. No.
That was me pausing, trying to think, like, is there a hobby that would be, like, a hard no, even if they weren't doing, you know, like, life risking and all that stuff?
Here's the thing. I don't want to shame anybody, but there is sometimes a genre of person associated with a specific hobby that I just... Nope. Any hobby that attracts the sort of fedora-wearing, gatekeepy, name 5 songs, you know, oh my God, you're a girl and you've seen Star Wars, I can't believe it. Any hobby that attracts that type of man.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to go out here and say that, like, oh, nobody who plays World of Warcraft is, like, you know, a cool, fun person, because that's objectively not fucking true. Millions of people on this earth play that game, or like anybody who plays Magic the Gathering. Like, there's nobody who's like cool or fun or whatever. No, that's obviously not the case. But again, there is a genre of person that is often attracted to hobbies of that type, like tabletop role-playing games, for example, or like card games, that I just don't fuck with.
But it's not the hobbies themselves. It's the
hobbies themselves. It's the person.
It's a person who is a dick about their hobby.
Yeah, the person, and I hate anyone who's a dick about their hobby, no matter what that hobby is. If that hobby is baking, if that hobby is World of Warcraft, if that hobby is woodworking, I don't give a shit. If you're an asshole about it,
people that are like all condescending and stuff.
Precisely. The worst genre of individual.
Yeah. But I was just trying really hard to think, like, if there were a specific hobby, that would be like too much, but I don't know what it would be. I mean, I have a slight idea, but
yeah, I don't really know if I have a specific one either.
I mean, I've definitely dated guys who had hobbies where I was like, that's what you do with your time. Cool. I dated a guy who was really into metal detecting.
Sure, why not?
I mean,
why the fuck
he was outside getting fresh air, exercise, finding some cool things. But people were like,
that.
Yeah, no. People thought it was like super dorky. I'm like,
okay, and whatever.
Every time we'd go on a trip, he'd always make sure he brought his equipment so he could metal detect in new places.
That's kind of fun. I respect this, actually.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And like, he would go places with me and he'd be like, oh no, yeah, you go do what you gotta do. I'll just find a field.
Sure. You know what? He can entertain himself.
Yeah. No, very self-sufficient.
That is an important skill.
That was like the equivalent of like my knitting. Like, as long as I had my knitting, you can just put me somewhere and I'm fine,
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So, because we skipped a week, I'm anticipating a slightly longer worsening than usual. Are we cool with starting that?
That's fine.
Ooh, I have to find the meditation myself. I've never done this. There it is. Aw, look at me producing all by myself like a big girl. Hold on. Now play the worsening.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
Listen, cue ball, you're only making it worse.
Thanks, that even makes it worse.
It's worse than you know.
It usually is.
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
That's the worst goodbye I've ever heard. And you stole it from a movie.
How marvelous.
All right.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
Listen, cue ball, you're only
turn off the auto loop.
Thanks, that even.
I see. There is an option for that. Now I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning. What do you got for me this week, bestie? How are you worse?
How am I worse? Well, I mean, some of them are things that we have talked about, but as you know, I have finished playing Power Wash Simulator.
You have. I was very... Yeah. What were all these things you alluded to saving during the stream last night? Other than finishing Power Wash Simulator, because I knew about that.
Yeah. I mean, so I'll mention, I finished the game and bought all of the DLC for it.
Love it.
And have since just been doing bonus jobs on there. So, like, it doesn't necessarily end when the game ends, which is nice, because I can't stop.
Hey,
So there's that, but playing lots of other games as well, jumping around. So there's that. But also, the rate at which I'm churning out loaf cats is a little bit insane.
Explain.
There's a lot. They're taking over my home.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, I just got bins of them everywhere. I'm like, this might be overboard, but you know what? Then I'll have them done, and I don't have to think about it anymore.
I mean, there you go. I was just making bracelets before we logged on for today.
And I actually just had another idea today for something I might make, so I was like, we'll look into that.
Right.
But I'm into season 3 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And
we've gotten some updates in the Weeb chat that have been fucking fascinating.
yes, I sent you a picture of a character. He's only in a few episodes. His name has been translated variously as either Cool Ice, which is what I sent you, which is so stupid, as opposed to Hot Ice, Cool Ice. The
Sure.
other way they translate it is Vanilla Ice.
I feel like it's probably Vanilla Ice, just knowing what I know about that show.
Yeah, I just kept seeing it in different ways here and there. But like, he is wearing
Speedo.
it's a leotard. I don't want to. There's no good word that I can think of to describe it. I believe in the Weeb chat I refer to him as a hussy, but
Wait, hold on. Let me look and see if I can help you describe what we're talking about here.
oh, I meant to send you all a picture of the action figures they make of this guy. They should never be given to a child.
Oh no.
It is horribly inappropriate.
Yeah, I would describe this as a leotard with a sort of cape situation, or like a cape robe situation. And I think based on the fact that he has VI on his little sort of belt sash detail,
Vanilla
I
Ice.
feel like it is supposed to be Vanilla Ice.
But then they kept calling him Cool Ice. And he identified himself as Cool Ice. It's very confusing.
Sure.
But, like, the level of muscle definition in this character is insane. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it. That's
like grotesque levels.
that's a lot.
But also because he's wearing this leotard, it's very prominent in the action figures they've made. But
Yikes.
dude appears to be packing, shall we say? So it's just like it's
Sure,
very-
why not?
But what's wild is this guy can also swallow himself out of existence. It's insane.
Whack.
Like, he just stuffs his own feet in his mouth and keeps swallowing until he goes and he's gone.
Incredible.
But this show is completely insane. It is insane, and the more I watch, the more I'm not sure if life is real anymore, if I even exist. I can't... I don't know how many episodes I've watched at this point, because season 1 was like 20-something episodes. Season 2 was like 48 or something. And I don't know how much more my brain can take. But I think I figured out what it is about this show that drives me so insane. And it's not just the terrible fake accents that they put on, or the ridiculous character designs or names, or the fact that they can do stupid things like have their faces eaten off by water or swallow their own bodies. What it is that they over explain everything.
From the little bit I've seen of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, yeah.
Like, I almost sent you all a clip the other day where this this character was like underwater, comes up to the surface. He was like, "Oh no, I'm in the water and the shore's all the way over there, and I don't know if I can swim there. There's a chance I might drown." It's like,
And I
we can
wonder how
see
much
all
of that is
right?
having to match up dialogue to, or like the dubbing to the original dialogue, like things taking longer to say in Japanese.
Well, no, because so this is one of the things that drives me insane too, is that the dub and the subtitles do not match at all, remotely.
I've noticed that with Netflix in particular. That was
Yes.
like, this is one of the ways that I'm worse. I started watching Vinland Saga because we're going to begin talking about that on the stream tomorrow. Very exciting. But the subtitles match up, or like the subtitles match the direct translation of the original Japanese dialogue, not the dub. So I just have to watch without subtitles, which like is fine, but I was like, that's annoying.
Which, I mean, and that's what I'm assuming is happening here. So even though they were mismatching. What was in the subtitles was the same basic thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what they were saying in Japanese, regardless. And they do this constantly. Like, they don't let you just figure anything out for yourself or try to work things through or hypothesize. No, they explain everything as you're watching it happen. And always in these very dramatic voices, like, oh no! There's a character that just all the time screams, oh my god! And every time he does it, I just can't. It just sounds so
All
stupid.
right.
There's another one that
Hell yeah.
just says good grief all the time, like he's Charlie Brown. Or I think that's what it is. It is the over explanation of everything.
All right.
Every episode I watch, I lose a little bit of my sanity. So by the
I
time
can't say I blame you.
yeah, by the time I get to the end of this series, which I mean, I think I'm just in it now at this point. I don't know that I will have anything left except a very tenuous hold on reality.
Well, that'll probably just make you even more fun for the pod. So, no complaints from me.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish this because I'm only on, well, actually, I'm getting, semi close to halfway through because 5 seasons. I'm in season 3.
Yeah.
Brand new JoJo.
Fun.
They get weirder and weirder.
Can't say I'm shocked.
Yeah, so I mean that show is continually making me a worse person to be around because I can't.
That's a big thing for the worsening. I like it. I've started my yearly Skyrim obsession has returned. Pretty much directly because of Vinland Saga, because as I was watching the first 3 episodes, I was like, oh man, this makes me want to play Skyrim. So then I started fucking playing Skyrim. I started a new playthrough on the stream last night in survival mode because I hate myself. And I am having a wonderful time.
Nice.
So Skyrim calls me once again.
So is that going to be like your main game now?
Probably for a little while at least.
Nice.
And one of the other ways that I think I might be worse is that I started listening. I gave Baby Metal a try when I was making bracelets earlier this afternoon. It's like a Japanese metal band that like kind of blends the whole like J-pop thing with metal. That's like the fastest description I can give for anyone who is unfamiliar with either of those things. And I think I like it, and I think that could become a problem. Just whenever I have a new thing to get into, that's never good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I experience a new thing and I'm like, oh no, I like this thing.
Yeah, it's uh-oh. I have often said, I have texted this to multiple groups in my life, like devastated to report that I love XYZ after I like try some new band or watch a movie or like join any sort of fandom space.
Yeah.
I also finally watched Evil Dead for the first time. I could see that becoming a problem for me. Ash Williams. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
I can see that becoming a huge problem for me.
Now you gotta watch the second one. Or did you watch them?
Oh, I most certainly will be. Yeah. And what was your tattoo idea, bestie? Are we gonna include that as part of the worsening?
It's just a broad idea at the moment. So it's not like I'm getting it anytime soon, but because I was listening to Los Campesinos, of course, my most beloved band, and thinking it'd be cool to have a tattoo related to them. And I was trying to think through, but they have one particular song from an album from years ago at this point called "The Blackbird, the Dark Slope," but it's basically like this. Basically about having like a blackbird that lives inside you and is like representing. It's hard to describe, but it like lives inside your rib cage, and it's I don't know how to explain it without going through the entirety of the lyrics, I guess. But the broad
There's
idea.
a bird. That's what matters.
Yeah, the broad thing that comes from that is like a kind of, I want to say like photorealistic blackbird inside of a rib cage,
I dig it.
but it's the broad idea, which I'm still working it out.
I like it though, conceptually.
Yeah, and there's a point in the song where like the blackbird is actually writing things inside of like the rib cage, like on the bones.
Mm.
So he dips his beak in blood and scrawls his thoughts across the bones that are his jailer in my rib cage.
Mm.
Yeah. So might be.
I like
integrating
it.
that. Yeah.
I'm definitely a fan. I'm trying to think if there's any other ways that I'm noticeably worse this week. Or these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I have new soup mugs, so I'm gonna make it a lot of soup.
I love that for you. I have been, snacking on all my fucking Christmas cookies and candy and all that stuff. I'm worse in that way.
Yeah, I keep eating s'mores.
But
I just keep eating them.
ain't that always how it goes with this time of year?
Yeah. I just keep toasting marshmallows and then just eating them because toasted marshmallows are somehow so much better than non-toasted ones.
They are. And for what?
Yeah. I mean, I love a regular marshmallow, but toast it? Pff.
Yeah. But yeah, I have Legos to start. That's going to be a fun activity that I guess kind of does make me worse because I always get really into it whenever I have a new Lego set.
Mm-hmm.
So worse in a myriad of ways, I would say.
Yes, I contributed to making my stepdad a lot worse by encouraging my mom to get him a Nintendo Switch for Christmas.
We were talking about this.
And-
Please
Yes.
continue.
And he and I are, as of today, friends. You know,
Nice.
Nintendo Online. Yeah, because he was asking me how to do it. I was like, send a picture of your friend code, thinking I'd have to explain how to find it. But he just did it. I was like, okay. So I sent him the request. I was like, all right, you got to accept the request, expecting him to ask me how to do that. But he did it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And the day after Christmas, he got some sort of like Lego racing game, like Lego 2K or something that we were playing together.
Interesting. Well, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, he got a Nintendo Switch and a Lego set to build like this car that actually like you pull it back and it goes.
That's so
like,
fun.
it's like a regular kid Christmas, but for a guy of his age, which is, I always have to think about what year it is. Let's actually say, what is it? 58. Is that right? Yeah, that is right. I know how to do math.
Whenever I hear the ages of people's parents, it always weirds me out. Like people whose parents had children at quote unquote normal ages.
Well, this is my stepdad, and he is younger than my mom. I used to
Fair
joke
enough.
and call her a cradle robber, and she doesn't like that.
All right.
She's 8 years older than he is. She would be so mad if she knew I was saying that on the podcast. She's not
Good thing
gonna
our
watch
families don't pay attention.
this. Apologies, mother. Love
All
you.
right. Unless we are worse in any other ways that we can think of, nothing is springing to mind for me.
No, but I will say that I am going to the Rochester Anime Festival this Sunday.
That's gonna make you
got my-
worse.
Yeah, I got my ticket today. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a huge event, but there are a few like anime voice actors. One that I know from a few things, not like super exciting, but I'm excited. I'm gonna go do some anime trivia, and they're doing like anime music videos and stuff like that.
Fun.
Because
Well, that
it's an
sounds
anime.
like a lovely time. I know that watching Vinland Saga is definitely going to make me worse, and I know that continuing to play Skyrim is definitely going to make me worse. So I too am preparing to become worse in more ways than one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is always
Yeah.
a good thing here on the podcast.
Yeah, especially as things like start to normalize a bit. The holidays always throw everything off, like
They
schedule.
really
brain
do.
just gets confused.
Mhm.
And I don't know who I am or where I am at this point.
Yep. So So that's
I did
good.
finish
There,
the
there we
game.
go. That's something for both of us. We're both in the holiday fugue state still. Hopefully coming out of it soon.
So weird. Next week.
All right.
Next week will be a normal week.
Next week will be a normal week. And then the week after that on the podcast, we got a guest coming up. We will be talking to the EDM musician Who is Silas. That is the full name, by the way. I'm not asking who our guest is.
Who is this person?
We'll find out. But that's some fun stuff coming up for us. And let's see. I'm trying to think of what's coming up on the network this week. We're streaming tomorrow, starting to talk about Vinland Saga, which I'm really excited about. We haven't done a TV show in a hot minute, and I think this is going to be really fun. So we've got that. Let me look at our calendar real quick. And
Defenestration hour tomorrow?
Got Defenestration hour coming up. What's today? Yes, Defenestration hour on Friday. Let me see if they've listed the movie yet. They have not, so don't know what that's going to be, but there will be Defenestration hour this Friday, Big Dumb Monsters on Monday, Regrettable Reviews next Tuesday, and then, the cycle continues itself. So,
do we know the movies for BDM or Regrettable Reviews?
Big Dumb Monsters, I do not know. Regrettable Reviews, I believe we are doing something called Ice Pirates, which was, shocker, Arthur's pick.
You don't say.
Yeah, you don't fucking say.
It feels very like Space Truckers.
I think it might have that vibe, but I'm always down for a good B movie, so we shall see. And I would like to try and maybe work in a network movie night where we talk about Nosferatu, just because we all saw it and it's topical. So
yeah, and I mean,
maybe
Wolfman's coming out in a couple weeks, so
Wolfman is coming out in a couple weeks, but I think we could probably fit in one network movie night before that.
Yeah.
I'll try and get everybody on board with that. So fingers crossed for us there. But I do believe that's everything we've got going on.
Yeah. I will say the worst part of doing a TV series for the stream, though, is like stopping.
Oh, God, I know.
After like 3 episodes each week. Because I'm going to like watch the third one and be like, okay.
It gives me something to look forward to, though.
Yeah, I suppose.
It is actually like watching serialized weekly episodes of TV again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't. I just have to... I hit play and then I just let it go.
We've all been there. All right. As always, thank you for fighting with us, friends. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we will be back again next week for more fun. Adios. We will see you then. This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly and Dr. Sarah Brooks. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Catch us live on Twitch every Wednesday and Thursday, and for ad-free live broadcasts of the show, you can subscribe to our Twitch channels or consider donating to our Patreon for ad-free access to our entire library of past episodes and streams, as well as fun bonus content. Fighting with Friends is a member of the Big Dumb Monsters podcast network. Check out the links in the description for more episodes from us and from all of the shows on the network. Thanks for listening!